people, what's going on? It's your girl, the Polished Lady. And before I introduce my lovely guest, I really need you guys to go hit that red subscribe button and make sure you stay tuned for all the future interview content that I have with dope black entrepreneurs coming up on my channel. So, I would like to welcome my distinguished guest, Miss Ericka Cowsen. Cowsen. Sorry. Edit. Ericka Cowsen.
Yes.
Okay, I said that right. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here in this space with you. So please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay. All right. Well, my name is Ericka Cowsen. I am the founder and CEO of the My Extended Hands organization. And basically what My Extended Hands is a rendition of my way to give back to the community. I've been in banking for 15 years in the branch, and anybody that's ever known me has known that I've always wanted to help and make our community better. And so through my success and my tenure within the retail bank, I've been exposed to so many great people, so many great money minds and leaders in the industry. I'm just happy to be able to help our people in our community with what I've learned in my research and in my history with the bank. So
that's super dope. And what was that moment in those 15 years that hit you and you were just like, dang, I really should be doing this for myself?
You know, when I was 18 years old, that was my first job, was a teller at the bank. And so that was always something that I wanted to do, was work in a bank, because I thought it was like the coolest thing, like for a black girl to work in a bank. I don't know what that was.
I'm gonna take your money.
And I thought, you know what, I had someone that I really looked up to that worked in a bank, and she had the nicest cars and cool, clothes and all that. And even as a little girl, I looked up to her. And that was my first real job, was a teller at the bank. And I did not realize until a little bit into it how much I love to serve people in that capacity. Like, I like being able to be the one to answer the questions when they come in and figure out, okay, can I open a checking account? Can I, do whatever? So it was really an eye-opener for me early on that this was what I was going to be doing.
Well, okay. And you've already answered the question about why you were into banking, because you love to be hands-on with people. Mm-hmm. But can you tell us what's something that we don't know about money that a lot of people, are oblivious to?
You know what? That's a great question for real. Because I think I'm not the only one to be able to relate to when you get money. A lot of times you think of the first thing you need to buy, and then you go buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and especially if you have kids and you have, a household to run, the first thing you want to do is satisfy the need of whatever it is that's going on. And of course, that's something necessary to do with money. But money, cash, is a trade-off. So I think from a literal standpoint, I think that what I learned through my tenure in the bank is that money is a lot more transactional than I gave it credit for. And once the dollar is gone from your hand, it's gone. So, I've learned through the people that I've worked under and worked with that, and again, with the banks, they incentivize you for being able to sell their bank products. So it's like, if you can sell a checking account, great. That's what the bank wants. If you can sell a CD, awesome. That's what the bank wants. But I had to learn a step further as into, why do these people need this stuff? Like, why are they interested in it? Why? Because it earns interest, or it allows for, you to get more money than what you actually deposited. So it's a lot to do with transactions that I didn't understand until I got a little bit more advanced in my exposure, I guess, into money. So the removal of money, once you spend that money's gone, and so you want to be able to have it come back to you in some kind of way. That's the whole point of cash, is whatever you spend out of your hand, if you've allocated it to do something,
ROI.
if you allocated it to do something, then it's gonna pay the bill, or it's gonna get you some groceries, or it's gonna do whatever it is that you wanted it to do. It provided something for you. We're not supposed to be using money to just shop. That was hard for me. There is a purpose for it. So I think, to ultimately answer your question, I had to learn the hard way that there's a purpose for cash. And now that I understand it, it's like an aha that I got, and like I have to give it out to people.
And this is off the grid, but with COVID going on, how do you think a lot of businesses have been, or just people have been moving day to day without steady income like what we're used to, having jobs, some businesses haven't continued, and things of that nature, and a lot of people are working off of unemployment.
Yeah.
So how do you really decipher this is a necessity and this is, something I just want? You know what I'm saying?
That is such a great question, and it is one that is a very popular question amongst many in our age group.
Right.
Because when you have all these things going on, there's a certain list of necessities that you have to hit every month. And so I think that what recognizes or allows us as consumers to recognize, okay, where is my money going, or where do I need to put this cash, is a budget. If you allow yourself a budget, or if you actually write down what your bills are, so including your essentials, so that's your mortgage or your rent, that's your utilities, a car if you have one, groceries, you gotta have that, all the things that you have to pay, your non-negotiables, like those are your essentials. Anything outside of that, you want to take into account, like how much you like to spend on yourself. Like me, I like to buy my lashes. I go and get myself together. I like to be able to look nice or do nice things for people that I love. But if you spend that blindly without giving yourself a bucket or a bank rather to put those funds, then to overspend only hurts you. So you have to be able to sit down every month to say, okay, after I pay all these things that I have to do, then I have an Ericka fund.
Definitely need one of those polished lady funds.
Absolutely, a polished lady fund. And what that fund gives you is the freedom to do what you need to do. Why? Because you were responsible at the beginning of the month. You accounted for it all. You've already put yourself in a position to not overspend because you've already paid attention to what you had to pay attention to. And so if I have this money going specifically to a particular account, to a specific debit card, then I don't feel bad for how I use that card because I've already did the math and been responsible with the rest of my money.
Dope. Okay. So I've been, practicing this question for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, y'all. But anyways, so if I get it wrong, you knew what was coming. How would you say, as a financial fundamentalist?
I love that.
Yes, financial fundamentalist. You can help your clients.
Okay. You know what? I call myself a fundamentalist only because we have to go back to the basics, because we can't really fix the other side of the problem unless we kind of get to the bottom of the problem. And so when it comes down to spending, we learn that some people have different issues. It's either a spending issue where you can't help but to spend, or it's a saving issue. People, believe it or not, people don't know how to spend. Like, they get their money, they don't want to release it, they keep it. And then when it comes down to like credit mismanagement, so all of those things come to bottom line understanding of like what's actually happening. That's my space. That's where I thrive, because if I can sit down with you and figure out, okay, what's your credit, what's your income, what's going on with what you have coming in and what you have going out, how do you think about money? How are you emotionally attached to money? What is it about needing to go buy something? What is that what is that behind the scenes? What's pushing you there? To help you be able to understand and realize that it gives you an aha to how you look at your own personal finances. So I have those one-on-one consultations, and like I said, because I did it so long and I was so successful and recognized so much in the banking center, and now that I'm in corporate banking due to a promotion, being greatly exposed, and people just, responding so well to what I might present to them. Now that I'm in corporate banking, I see a whole nother side of finance, which is really the same principles. So it's like, okay, all right, that's it. I need to sit down with my people, because it's not that anybody is so much more. It's not that people have so much more. It is really a mentality. So
and
you
getting the rules to the game.
getting the rules to the game.
Yes.
That's it. Like, you let me in the room, now that's it. Now I know. So it's like, okay, so if I can just sit down with you and now understand why there's that attachment to that way, then we can kind of uncover some things, and then we can further go on to see, okay, what I went through, I don't want to give to the next generation, which is again where that's my land. Like, that's where I like to be able to help.
Okay, so my next question is, are there main rules when you're creating short-term and long-term goals financially? Are there any main rules, like just key factors you got to stick to?
Well, consistency is everything. So nothing's going to happen overnight. You might see some...
And that's what we expect.
Yes.
Especially right now.
Oh my God, are you kidding? Like this microwave type, pop and go type, immediate gratification type,
Annoying.
it's a lot. It's a lot. It is annoying. But it's unfortunate mostly because our kids are affected by our inability to wait. And if we can figure out why we can't wait, or what we need to do to wait, or what the discipline is needed to wait, then we can be consistent to help our children. The millions that you're planning today, you may not even see until your kids will see. Like, you may not even see, but you positioned yourself to have your kids to be the recipients of the exercise and the discipline that you did. So, if it ain't worth nothing else, then that's what it's worth.
Being consistent. Okay, so talk to me about what cash poor means. How does that affect your generational wealth?
So there are all kinds of poor. Right? Listen, I did not understand this until I saw it. There's cash poor, there's house poor, there's credit poor. All these things are the ability to get it, but you're barely maintaining it. So you're literally like right there on the water about to pass out. Like, you right there. So to be cash poor means you live on credit. So you're constantly paying credit. So you don't have no cash. So you literally live your whole life on a revolver, possible interest rates. Nothing is actually yours until the credit line is zero. People who are house poor are folks that have, 6-figure homes, but no furniture, no, savings accounts, nothing to match the value of the home, because they put everything into having a home. So that's house poor. You don't want to live to where you are tied to any particular thing, but you don't have cash to keep you sustained. So, cash is king. That's it. Like, I don't even know what else to say after that. Cash is all the way king. Like, you need credit, and you need money to have credit, but you want to make sure that you can have cash, because cash is what's going to get it done. And people who have cash don't need credit, and people who have credit don't use cash. And what's crazy about that?
Are y'all catching this? We getting free game here. Free game. Sorry.
And what's crazy is that if you have like cash, then you don't need credit. So, but everybody needs credit to have the American dream, to be able to give residual, and transgenerational wealth. So, real estate, you need credit. You need to be able to get your house financed if you want to be able to, move it down the line. That's good credit. But that's a whole nother thing I can talk. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, you just wanna make sure you have cash. because cash is king, and you don't want to live off credit. And if you find yourself living off credit, then there's something kooky with the math here that we need to revisit.
All right, because I open up credit card accounts when I do my shopping. I'm an emotional shopper, so I took the debt-free class. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but definitely took the debt-free class, and I found out that I was an emotional shopper, and I do a lot of my spending like, oh, well, I'm sad today. I'm going to look nice, though.
Yeah,
You gonna see me.
Yeah, right?
Unfortunately, that's how I live my life. But, I'm trying to do better, trying to do better.
Yeah, and you know what we found out and what we have to understand is that sometimes it may not even be the cash, because you hit something that's very important and that I agree with, and I'm definitely someone who recognizes that, is that when my mood is off or when I'm in a zone, then I may want to go spend because it gets my mind off of things. So I had to figure out, okay, what else can I do? I had to actually take that to the drawing board and say, okay, what else can I do to correct my feeling? So, because money affects everything in my house, my feeling is me. So what can I do to correct my feeling? That's when I started, going to the gym more. That's when I started taking up like painting and stuff, doing other things that's not gonna cost me or, be really, really expensive.
I believe, as you were saying earlier, you have to, cash is king.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you created this business, and how has that brought in, revenue for you to function and live life?
Yeah, that is actually a really good question, because My Extended Hands is a nonprofit organization. So this is something that was so important to me that I wanted to give it for free. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't be chosen as I have been throughout my career if I wasn't producing the results that these banks wanted me to produce. My Extended Hands is not offering a specific bank product, but it is more or less the fundamentals for what to do in your, specific situation. So kind of what I would do is sit down with each customer to understand exactly what was going on, and if the bank had a product that would make sense, then I would promote the product, and then the bank would get the revenue from whatever it was. However, in this setting, everybody has a bank. All banks do the same thing. Every bank, you find me a bank that doesn't have a checking account, then you probably are in the wrong spot, right? So every bank has the same thing, but what it doesn't have is somebody to actually coach you to your specific situation. Some people don't really have the understanding or the passion behind it, so they miss a lot of times to really help people. And that's what this organization is. If I can help somebody who looks like me, who didn't have the help before, then it is my obligation to serve my community in that way. So I want to be able to give what was given to me, and there is no fee for it, and just
That's
because
mad love.
It's mad love, right? That's funny. Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about what the future of My Extended Hands is going to look like, and what can we be expecting? How can clients use your services?
You know what? Ultimately, my ultimate goal is to have chapters throughout the country, because I'm sure that a lot of people want to help, but they just hadn't, or maybe there wasn't a source or a resource for them. So I think that ultimately I love to expand across the country, but I want to do one thing well, and that is my direct community right now is to really serve them at a high level. So I partner with a lot of people throughout the city and throughout, surrounding cities, where I would conduct phone calls with them monthly to have conversations with them, amongst my audience, or, I may have someone who specializes in health insurance or life insurance, which is very important to help with wealth and giving wealth. I have someone who is a specialist with student loans. So, if that particular person is on that particular week, then we have conversations just straightforward and candidly, just like me and you are having. Like, specifically about student loans. People have all kinds of questions, or, when it comes to 401ks and retirement. And that's the great part about, the position that I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to, is that the connects, like the relationships, it's like, okay, and God allowing that to happen, to be able to, them wanting to help us. So, I appreciate those relationships. So ultimately, I'd like for it to be throughout the country, but I want to do one thing well right now, and that's where I'm at right here, and just really, really help my community so I can see the direct impact right away, or as long as it takes.
That is super, super dope, super dope. I know when I was starting my non-for-profit, that, the chapters grew, very fast, and I didn't have the team that you seem like you're having, and that sounds great that you have a team and you're not doing it all by yourself, and you guys are moving as a unit. So that's super, super dope.
I think everybody really wants to see people do well, ultimately, and it's important to be around people who want to see you do well.
Very important, especially in today.
I mean, don't you? You just got to do a check of like what you got around you. So you have to, do inventory of the people who you have in your ear. And if this person isn't producing the life that, maybe I want to aspire to be like, then it goes back to who I, was my mentor coming into banking. Like, I wanted to be what she was, and because she was my mentor, I fell in her footsteps, and I'm grateful for that, because, I was able to see things that I maybe wouldn't be able to see before.
So, would you say that your family and friends have played a huge part in your business and just lifelong lessons that you've learned and incorporated into your LLC?
Yes. Family is everything. Period. Like, I don't even, ebonically speaking, forgive me, but that is really how I feel. Like, family is everything. Like, I would go to the depths of the earth for my kids and for my family. And once you, like, get that understanding, like, how do I make my kids' life better than mine? I think every parent has that obligation to say, what can I give my kids that maybe I didn't have? And it may not be me just going to spend about them the next J's, but it may be the understanding of, okay, I need to go and get them a savings account or a 529 plan so they can go to college.
Yay, because I got a 529 plan for Wally. Yes.
Hey, and people don't even get how important those are.
Right.
Let me hit you with this. So if you graduate from high school and you don't have any type of like college funds, what are the scholarships or grants or anything like that, then guess what you got to do? Get a student loan, right?
First thing, you're in debt.
First thing, right away. And so as you begin to expose yourself and get your credit file and start adding these things, you're unbeknownst to you, you don't even know what you're exposing your credit life to. All right, chances are, let's flip the coin, and you're actually one of the ones that graduate college. Maybe you're one of the ones that actually do, because there are a lot of us that don't, but we still have this student loan debt. You have to be able to graduate. Once you're graduating college, you have to be able to pay for those loans, right? In order to get any type of financing, what is a very important indicator for any type of credit is a debt to income indicator. So what that says is, okay, Mr. Bank, I want to get a home loan. I want to get a car loan. Give me a car loan. I need one. Mr. Bank says, all right, do the app. Okay, cool. I'll give you all my information. Once they pull up everything that you've allowed your credit to be exposed to, student loans included, your debt to income, if you graduated college and say you were making, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks an hour. You got a really good job. You're making 40, 50 bucks an hour. But you have $70,000 in student loan debt. That is literally no different than having no student loan debt and working at Burger King.
Wow.
It's the same comparison. your debt to income is going to be the same because your income is going to be low with no debt. But then if you have all this debt, you get all this money, it does not matter. So we have an obligation for our kids because you have to be able to sustain yourself out here. If you don't have a college degree, if you don't have something that produces the amount of income that where you don't have to use credit, then you would be putting your children at a disadvantage when they graduate high school. To say, okay, go ahead, I want you to go. Good thing you graduated high school, cool, but what is the average income for somebody that just has a high school diploma? It'll get you by, but is that what you want for your kids? You know, and because I know that it's not that we don't want to do it. It is, I never even thought of it like that.
It wasn't even something that was brought to your attention, not a conversation that you had in your household. Me in specific, before I had Waleed, I had no in plans of starting a 5 to 9 plan, let alone having a child.
Yeah.
But when that moment happened to me, I knew that I wanted to better his life, and I wanted to do more than say, you're going to college. I wanted to actually have fun, to just live a better life in general. So what, I know in your household you mentioned family is everything. So what tips and tricks have you implemented in your home for your children to see, okay, well, I need to be serious about my money, like mom says. You know what I'm saying?
So 5 to 9 plans is something that was a big deal for my household because one thing that I had to figure out was where was my biggest area of opportunity for my own finances. And like 89.9% of African American college students, it was student loans. I know I'm not the only one, so I don't even feel bad for saying I had them. So if you have student loan debts, you're fighting behind the curve. So 5 to 9 plans allow, if I'm working right now as an adult, right? If I'm working right now, 5 to 9s allow me to invest or deposit into this account that's exposed to the market that earns these returns for my kids' college education. So what that means is every time I get paid, so much money that I elect to go into the accounts for each kid goes into those accounts. So it's like an automatic deduct or automatic, payment to the savings account, whatever. So because that's my hard-earned money, by the time they graduate high school, you're going to college. Like and like you said, there are some tax benefits to it. And so really what that means is, it's like, okay, whatever you want to do after college, do whatever you want. But you're going to go to college for 2 reasons. One, you're going to need that money to live.
Right.
We're adults now, so we know how much the cost of living is now. So you're going to college, I paid for this, and I'm going to make sure your grades are good. Why? Because that's my money, And I think sometimes where I think a lot of us, where we miss the ball is, with student loans, yes, you may go to school, but it hits a little different when the source of funds comes from a different place. So if you are the one that's actually contributing those funds, and as their parent, you're going to make sure that they hit the grades needed to get the degree. And then they get out of college without the student loan debt. If you want to go live under the bridge with a college degree, go for it. I don't care. But you have the means to care for yourself because I took the sacrifice for you, and I wanted to make sure you was good.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about budgeting.
Budgeting is for me and what has assisted me greatly. Once I implemented a budget, my whole outlook on money changed. It is definitely single-handedly the most effective way that I've been able to hit every bucket and then still feel good about my Ericka fund. Because I've accounted for my savings, I've accounted for my giving, I've accounted for my children, I've accounted for my household, I've accounted for my bills, and whatever I made for my Ericka fund is all well within everything that should have been accounted for. So it makes me feel better about knowing that I did what I was supposed to do before the money came out. You ever spend, so you ever have everything going into one place and say, okay, this is when my payroll goes into one check, and then you start spending before you actually start paying bills, and then you be like, oh shoot, let me go back and make sure I get all my electric.
And not dip into savings.
And not have to dip into savings and be like, Mama, can I borrow $45 until next Friday? You know, that conversation.
Right.
You can totally avoid all of that with the budget. And it gives you an understanding of, okay, am I spending too much? Maybe I'm eating out too much a week. Maybe I can rock out with a peanut butter and jelly and some bologna this week. Maybe I'm good with skipping on the 4 for 4 from Wendy's, and then I could go and actually bring me some homemade tuna from the crib. Like, I don't have to go and spend everything because at the end of the day, did you eat? If you made your own peanut butter and jelly, did you eat?
You did.
If you went and you know, wore an outfit that maybe you wore a couple weeks ago, or you know, something that you might have bought on sale that you didn't forgot you didn't bought or something, you don't have to go every time you get paid to go buy something.
Right.
It's that level of discipline and saying, if I wanted to, this money has to last me so long. This amount has to last me so long. Do I want to go buy the Yaki 3-pack that's going to be $250? Do I want to do that? Or am I going to use all of that and then be broke for 2 weeks? For what?
Wow. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. And we just had such a good conversation. I really thank you for, you know, just spilling and giving all this free game to us and sharing what you do and doing what you do in your community, in our community. I appreciate you for that. But is there one last thing that you would like to leave, just to share?
I think my biggest takeaway I want from your entire audience, which thank you again for tuning in, is to understand what you do today is going to affect your tomorrow. And everything you do today will affect your decisions for later. So if you can allow yourself to be in a good position to make good decisions, then you're going to thank yourself. Your 30-year-old self, your 50-year-old self, your 70-year-old self is going to thank you. So.
Well, thank you so much. Hey, everybody, stay polished.